30-12 run with the complimentary plays, and I'm going to take a look at both of your college football semifinal, the playoff games today. That's right. I'm going to give you my thoughts and my picks on Alabama, Cincinnati, and Michigan, Georgia. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, why is he going to give those games away for free? Well, because I've got to tell you guys, I am not here to sell the biggest games because, oh my God, they're going to get the most amount of sales, which is probably true. But the reality is it's all about winning. That's all that matters. And although I like both of these games, I got to tell you, the best bet on today's card, now don't laugh because what I'm going to say is probably going to bring a few chuckles, but the best game on today's card is the Gator Bowl clash between Wake Forest and Rutgers. Okay, go ahead. Now you can laugh. Yeah, I know. But I'm telling you, it's the best bet. In fact, I like it so much as I go for college football winner number 10 out of 14 today. It's an ultra rare 30-dime release. Now, 99% of my plays are rated between 5 and 15 dimes. In fact, over the past 21 years since I created these sites, this is only the 28th ever 30-dime release I've ever had. That's how rare this play is. And that's how much I love the game. And as usual, when I have a play this big, it's going to be the half price play of the day simply by using coupon code RARE, R-A-R-E. And it's available now as I go for college football winner number 10 out of 14. So that's the deal there. By the way, may I also wish you, as this New Year's Eve is underway, best wishes for a happy, prosperous, and shall we also mention profitable New Year. And by the way, this is gambling. And as I've said in all these years since I used to have my national sports talk show on gambling, there are no guarantees in gambling. So I may win this game, I may lose this game, but may I also remind you of this. My golden rule of gambling has always been that you never bet more than you can afford to lose, because since there are no guarantees, I will probably, hopefully, win this game. But you notice I did say hopefully, and I may also lose this game. Those are the breaks. But the golden rule of gambling, again, you never bet more than you can afford to lose. So you don't go crazy if you happen to get this play from me today. You don't bet the mortgage money on it. You don't bet the money that you have earmarked for the kids' tuition or the 401k plans. No. You bet what you can afford to, because if you never bet more than you can afford to lose, which sounds kind of bizarre, but when you think about it, then you never get into that deep financial abyss from which there is no escape. So I've said my piece, now go forth and make money. Now, let's get to those other games on the card. And again, a 30-12 complimentary play run. Let's take a look at the late game first between Michigan and Georgia. I wish we could go back in time and play this game 3.5 weeks ago when Michigan was a fine-tuned machine playing its best ball of the season right after kicking Ohio State's ass, and then coming off the Big 12 championship game win as well. So when you have teams in the bowl season and you have that 3-4 week period, do they retain their edge? On the other side, you've got a Georgia team that certainly has had time to lick its wounds after having its ass kicked by Alabama in the SEC championship game. Which Georgia team are you going to get? The team that gave up no more than 17 points in a 12-0 start, or the Georgia team that looked pathetic against the Crimson Tide? Therein lies the problem. But the thing that I look in this game is, you're giving me 7.5 points with Michigan. I got to take the points with Jim Harbaugh's team. They were a touchdown underdog against Ohio State too, and how did that turn out, right? And Ohio State certainly was a much more potent offensive team, and the Wolverines did their job defensively there. And I certainly have absolutely no faith in that Georgia offense, especially with, Stetson Bennett starting once more in this game. Now, of course, the Georgia defense is much, much better than Ohio State's. And the key in this contest is going to be whether Georgia's defense is going to be able to stop the Michigan ground game. That's what it all is going to come down here to. But again, Michigan was 2-0 as a dog this year against Wisconsin and against Ohio State. And they won both of those games outright. That Georgia team was invincible the first 12 games of the season and then got smacked around by Alabama. It's kind of like, well, Mike Tyson put it best, you never know how you're going to respond until you get hit in the nose, and I'm paraphrasing it. Boxers, they lose that invincibility once they get knocked down. How does Georgia respond today? I think this is a field goal game. Michigan wins, Georgia wins. I've got to take the 7.5 points. And if this line moves down to 7, I'm absolutely buying up the half point with the Wolverines in this one. So that's the way I'm going to play that game. Now, Alabama is a 13.5 point favorite against Cincinnati. And I know the public is going gaga on Cincinnati. I can understand why. Because look, you look at Alabama. If you go back to Alabama against Auburn in the Iron Bowl, where the Crimson Tide was damn lucky to escape with that 4 overtime win on the Plains, is that the Alabama team we're going to get today? Or are we going to get the Alabama team that looked like gangbusters and beating up Georgia? I don't know. You tell me. But I do know one thing. Who did Cincinnati play this year? I mean, it's a pretty lackluster schedule. And this is a huge step up in weight class for the Bearcats. And Luke Fickell's done a great job. And that Cincinnati secondary probably has at least 2, if not 3 NFL prospects coming out of it. So, Bryce Young is going to be facing a damn tough secondary. But Bryce Young is a damn good quarterback. And that Alabama defense, it's going to put pressure and stop the Cincinnati ground game. And if Cincinnati can't run, how are the Bearcats going to be able to move the ball? I'm going to go against the grain. I think the public is overly enamored with Cincinnati, and I'm going to actually lay the points with Bama in this spot. Now, between the two, which one do I like more? I actually like Michigan more than I like Cincinnati. And one more thing about Michigan. This is one of those games that if you really like Michigan, you got to consider a smaller play on the money line, because the take-back price of plus 200 or more in most books is just phenomenal. So if you really like Michigan as the underdog, you make a smaller wager on the Wolverines on a money line play too at that excessive take-back price. The only other game on the board today is that rescheduled mismatch of a game between Central Michigan and Washington State. Washington State is a 7-point favorite. Of course, Central Michigan was rematched with the Cougars. I will tell you this, I think that the dynamic in this game, and the one thing, the metric that you have to consider, is that the Western Michigan defense was absolutely pathetic against the pass this season, and Washington State's going to be able to throw the ball at will. This is a step up in class for the Chippewas, who originally were supposed to take on Boise State. Now they're taking on a Power Fives team that, despite the coach getting fired, really rallied around the interim coach, who then eventually was named the head coach after knocking off Washington in the Apple Cup game. It's a 7-point line, but I actually like Washington in that game, Washington State in that game. But again, the official free play, I like Michigan. And then I would lean toward Alabama as well. And those are your 2 complimentary plays. Again, be safe tonight on New Year's Eve. Wish you well, and talk to you again tomorrow, because there's a plethora of games we will discuss. Good luck, everybody.